Asante, good afternoon, President and members.
Good morning, Your Progress, President and members.
Asante. So I think without much ado, allow me to introduce our guest speaker today, Madam Wandia. I came across Madam Wandia when I had gone to visit. No. First, I saw her matter on Mwanamuke Bomba, and then while visiting the Kenya Society for the Blind, I came across Madam Wandia trying to pick up the skills of a visually impaired person, trying to type her things on a computer, and I was really impressed. That was sometime in August or July last year, and I figured someday we will look up for her to come and give us a talk. And indeed, I think we're very privileged to have her today. She's a busy lady, being that she's in the provincial administration that deals with people. And as she had just started off this work, she ended up getting blind sometime in 2015. So she has had her eyesight until adult age. And we would want her maybe just to share with us her experience, and also in the process tell us of any signs and symptoms that we need to look out for us to probably avoid being visually impaired ourselves in this mature age. So I would want, without much further ado, to introduce, to invite Madam Shifu, who is also a mother of two and in charge of Mirimaini sub-location in Juja location and Juja sub-county of Kiambu County. Madam Patricia, karibu sana. If there's something I've left out about you, please go ahead and feel free to share with our members. Thank you. Is she there, or we have dropped her again?
Thank you very much, Mr. Gideon.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gideon.
I really appreciate for you giving me this chance to as you said, I'm Patricia Wandia, Senior Assistant Chief of the Military. I have arrived into the year 2019.
Madam Patricia, your microphone keeps dropping.
But I started having eye issues and is that can you hear me now, Mr. Gideon? Okay, I lost my eyesight. Okay, I started having issues. Okay, breaking.
Yeah, you keep breaking. So we need to have your place that you're stable.
Okay. Mr. Gideon, as I was saying, I started having issues with my eyes. Oh, let me try to help out. Can you, Gideon? I think now I'm
yes.
okay.
I think now I'm okay.
Yeah, you're okay. Come, go ahead.
I'm okay now. Okay, now as I was saying, I started having issues with my eyesight in the year 2015, and So the issue of eyes is a bit, so I think like my eyes have some things inside, like some foreign objects. Then scratched my eyes like for almost 1 year, and there was just busy wiping my eyes. Then in the year 2016, I went to seek medical attention, and I was told I have a retina detachment. And I had my first surgery to correct the detachment. Then the treatment was conducted in one eye, the other one also it had removed. And in 2017, I realized that I'm still losing my eyesight. I could not see clearly, and I feel my, the picture was impaired. So I again went for my surgery because I also developed a cataract. In the year 2018, my eyes again got a condition called glaucoma. The glaucoma is the pressure of the eye. The more you can see it better. And in the year 2019, I was still using it, and my control had become quite low. And in the year 2018, April, I lost my eyesight completely. When I went around that time, I was lucky. I worked with I'm a civil servant. And it was not easy for me. I first want to say mentally it is quite challenging. Because when you wake up one day and realize that you'll never see again, mentally it cannot get compromised that. Still the world has trampled on you, and it was really, really devastating. Because you realize that you lost your independence. You realize that you cannot move from point A to B alone, and it is not easy. It took like almost 1 year for me to accept. At one moment or the other, I would wake up, I would lose my direction to go to the washroom, and you find yourself, getting frustrated, and remembering that the doctor has said it cannot be corrected, that you live with that for the rest of the years, till death. It was not easy. But again, it is a time. I had to call myself for a meeting. And say, even if all is gone, at least my body is strong, my body is strong, and I had to tell myself that I have to take up, the and do what I can do best. I work with the community. The community where I work in, there is something we call illicit brew. And so at one point, Gideon, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Madam Chief.
Okay. So at one time, when I realized that I cannot see and it's almost an year is gone, I decided that I'll concentrate on my community. I have 2 rivers which are in my sub-location. I have a population of 27,987 as per the last census. And I thought what I can do best is to serve my people with what God has left of me. And I started going to the river to beat the illicit brew, to destroy the illicit brew. And I did it with all the figure that I had. And since what we do, we have to do it with pictorial evidence, it reached the ears and the eyes of our CS, Dr. Fred Matiang'i. So in July 2020, on that July 2020, Dr. Fred Matiang'i, the CS Interior, and Honorable Mutahi Kagwe, the CS Ministry of Health, visited me after realizing that I'm doing so much, yet I'm blind. They visited me in my house, and at least it gave me a new lease of life. And I felt like the government, really cares for its people. Fortunately, around that time, that's when I realized that I can be exempted from tax. That's when I realized that around that time, I can also have, some allowance, guide allowance of 20,000. And I can say that is when my life started, because that is when I felt that a support system from the government. My first support system is from my sons and my family members. I'm a mother of two boys, two big boys. I want to say that when I lost my eyesight, my boys were the biggest pillar in my life, because not having them away from me, they'd make a point of calling me almost on a daily basis, trying to visit me the time they can, and telling me, "Mom, all is not lost. You're good to go. All what you've lost is just your eyesight, but the rest is intact." And again, they could only tell me, the only thing you'll never do in life is that you never drive, but Mom, we'll drive you. So they kept encouraging me. And now when the support system of the government came in, at least I got now that new lease of life. When the Honorable CS came to me, again, they made that step of paying for me at Kenya Center for the Blind, where I met Gijun. I was privileged, because I see it's a privilege, because one, very few people will afford to be rehabilitated, because whatever comes with the loss of eyesight, one, the mental issue is the devastation mentally. It is quite a challenge that very few people cannot go through. Two, again, getting orientation. As I mentioned earlier, I could even get lost in my own house, whereby I would cry almost a whole day. I would even stay like for 2 days without eating, so that I may not even go to the washroom, and it is in my house. So you can see how devastating it can be. So when I went to the KSB, Kenya Center for the Blind, at least I was taught, orientation and mobility. I was rehabilitated, and I've learned computer. I was there for 5 months. I've learned computer, the computer with JAWS. So now with computer, I'm good. You'll think that I'm sighted when I'm doing everything on my computer. And I thank God that I had that privilege of going to rehabilitation. So what now came when I lost my eyesight? The problem was that I was not screened on time. And that is where we find that many people are losing the eyesight. Because if you're screened on time, the doctors say that they can save the situation. But sometimes the doctor may try and he may fail. But when it fails, where do those people go? That is now where the issue comes in. So as part of this, I believe screening would be the best thing to do, early screening. And in fact, if like the Rotarians can partner with Kenya Center for the Blind for the screening purposes, at least for it to be done, even if it's annually or quarterly, it will be so good. So that after that, the people who have lost it may be rehabilitated. Because when I went to Kenya Center for the Blind, I had phobia of touching the white cane. It was not easy for me. But after I learned how to work with the white cane, I tell you, I felt like a little girl. I got back my independence of walking. At least I could walk around myself. Or because the other time I have to go to the washroom, I have to get someone, I have to go from, even the shortest distance, I had to have, a sighted guide. But when I was rehabilitated and I got the white cane, at least I moved. Even from my house, I can go to the shop with my white cane, and I got that independence. At least that little independence, one needs. Because you lose eyesight, and it's quite challenging. Because wherever you go, life, one thing becomes very expensive. Because if it is in the like me, I use border to my workplace. I have to pay 2 borders every time for myself and my guide. And you see now with the 20,000 that the government offers, as the money for the guide, it cannot be enough, because that is the money that if you're moving even to other place, you're using, the matatus, and sometimes the means of transport is not very friendly. So it is quite a challenge, as I may say. But given a chance to be rehabilitated and given a chance, for other institutions to partner, it can at least reduce, the pain and reduce the, the challenges, because everything comes with challenges in life. After rehabilitation, there is now, that issue of how then do we, because most of me, I'm lucky, I'm a civil servant. The others who are maybe in private institution or even others, they lose their job because after rehabilitation, then how can those people be empowered? Some they can be given, let's say or like small businesses. They can be started off small businesses for them at least to keep life going. Because one thing mentally, it is not easy. I tell you, to wake up one day and to realize that you'll never see again. I would challenge every one of you to close the eyes for 10 minutes and imagine that is how you can live till death. It is not easy. So mentally, it is quite challenging and quite devastating, but with good friends, at least it becomes easy. I'm privileged to have a very good village elders because how we work with the government system. And when I lost my eyesight, they would come at least in very handy, almost on monthly basis, almost on weekly basis, to come and check on me. Then at least even my supervisors, at least they knew that I was very good, what I was doing. So they kept encouraging me that having lost the eyesight, you have other things that you can do. So the mental challenge, the socially again, it's not easy. You find that you've lost almost all your friends. Why? They think that now you are a liability to them. They think now that you'll be a bother to them because every time I need to move from point A to point B, maybe in one time or the other need a friend or somebody to take me there, and it comes with its own stigma. And so even in this situation, the communities need to be enlightened on the same, that when one loses eyesight, it's just that you can just have any other physical impairment, and one is just as good as any other person. So the stigma that comes with it also affects people as mentally. But at least my colleagues, they were very good. They worked with me the journey, and that is how I managed to cope. Because right now, I work like anybody else. I've hired, my guide, even my border people know me. It only becomes, quite expensive when, let's say, I have to use, let's say, a taxi, moving from point A to point B. Let's say you have to go for, meetings far. That is the challenge that comes with it. But otherwise, I want to say it's not easy. But bottom line is the condition can be dealt with medically if screened on time. Because the problem is you go one thing, you get the wrong diagnosis, and when you get the wrong diagnosis, of course you expect negative results because you'll be given the wrong medication for the condition, or it might delay by the time it's detected. So if you do screening, annual screening, or or the screening for others, at least I believe we cannot lose eyesight for our people. I think generally that is my journey with the loss of my eyesight. And I believe Gideon maybe I've told the people about the eyesight and the loss of visual impairment. Thank you, Mr. Gideon.
Thank you very much, Madam Shivo. We call you Madam Shivo. I probably just want to say this. Maybe I don't know whether it's common, but yesterday when I was calling you when I called you just to confirm whether you'll be available today, and I was not getting you, I called James Cargo of Kenya Society for the Blind to help me to look for you, only to find that James Cargo himself is in Kisumu, bringing in another gentleman who lost his eyesight. And I think when I got to you, I mentioned to you about Martin Imbalambala, who is a Kenya international football player and retired captain of AFC Leopards. But today he is visually impaired. We are told not to call you blind people, he's visually impaired. So I probably want to think that this problem is a little more widespread than we would know. Maybe you can just comment on that before I invite people to come and ask you questions. Is your situation now that you're in a network of the Kenya Society for the Blind, is it common where we have irreversible blindness that is not detected early and ends up impacting on the lives of normal able-bodied people like you, Patricia Wandia?
Gideon, thank you very much. That's a very good question. I want to honestly say that when I went to the Kenya Society for the Blind, I felt that I'm home. I want to say that I have an attachment with Kenya Society for the Blind. Reason why there are so many people coming to Kenya Society for the Blind on daily basis, having lost the eyesight, being visually impaired. Reason being, as I said there earlier, that they were not screened on time. Even young boys and girls, as as young as 17 years, you find them they're losing because I've told you that the eyesight, you don't start by feeling pain. That is the most weird bit of the of the eye, that part of the eye. You don't feel pain, so there's so much assumption that tomorrow I'll not feel the feeling. Tomorrow the image will not be blurred, and so in the Kenya Society for the Blind, there are quite a number of people who've come there, even inquiring about rehabilitation. So quite a number of people, because we have a big network of people, they've lost eyesight. But when they come and even they're told about the charges of rehabilitation, because it's not easy, they must be accommodated in the nearby hostels. They have to be given, the white canes. They have to, to use the brailles. Sometimes even the braille machines are not available. They are not enough even for those people who are coming there. So by partnering with Kenya Society for the Blind, I realized that would be the best thing that would ever happen to those who are becoming visually impaired every day. Because when we go, to the grassroots, I tell you, Gideon, so many people are losing eyesight. So many, and honestly speaking, this is the high time to sensitize our community on the need for, because people don't know that we need to take care of our eyes. I didn't know until I lost it. So when you go back to Kenya Society for the Blind, there are quite a number of people. And I want to honestly say, when they come to offer rehabilitation, some go back, because they cannot afford. It is not easy for that rehabilitation or what goes, it goes with. So I believe I've met quite a number. I can honestly say I've made a big network of visually impaired people at Kenya Society for the Blind. And again, that also forms another a social support, support system. The Kenya Society for the Blind, you find those people who are privileged to go there, because I'll say it is privilege, because very few people can afford. You find them going back there because you'll meet other bright people. They give their experience, and you're like, oh, okay. At least me, I tell people, I thank God I lost my eyesight at 47, and okay, I had done so much, at least the little I could have done. So it is not easy. You find when the young people are losing their eyesight, Gideon is not easy. So with the Kenya Society for the Blind, it is good, to partner with them. And in case, somebody comes, for any inquiry, that they're not told to go back home. They're not just given a white cane. They are at least given those skills to enable them at least make life bearable. I think Gideon have answered.
Thank you, Madam Shifo. I want us to do two things. You can take a piece of paper and pen, yes, and just note. We will throw all the questions at you, yes, so that you answer them at one go. I'm sure my members, yes, here have been opened to an insight that probably they would want to ask questions, and I'm sure you'll be able to assist us going forward. You challenged us to close our eyes for 10 minutes, and I want to remind my members that I think there was a dinner of something in the dark.
Dinner in the dark.
Yeah, dinner in the dark, yes, Shifo. And for those at the dinner at the time were traumatized because you close your eyes for a number of minutes, and sorry, you can't. You're in bad shape because I mean, you even don't know where you are, and if that is the experience you guys are going through, then I share the many things you've shared here. I can see a hand up. Is that Manubai? Manubai, go ahead. Manu Chandaria. Manu, you not ready? Anybody else with a question? Maybe we can feel free to put our point across. Pipi Kim Kung, go ahead, Pipi Kim Kung.
Good afternoon, fellow Rotarians. Thank you, President Gideon, and thank you to the speaker. I just wanted to ask Madam Patricia Wandia, has she ever, is her eyesight restorable? Is that possibility? Because I know of 2 people who had lost their eyesight and they went to India, and people donate eyes, and then they had their eyesight back through the donated, I don't know whether it's the cornea, I'm not very sure, but I just wanted to ask her, is her eyesight gone completely, that there's no room for her to think of those other options? Thank you very much.
Asante, asante. Madam Shivo, I think you've noted that. We will give an opportunity
Yes,
to, we'll give an opportunity to somebody else to ask so that you can answer those questions together. But as they think, we have doctors here on the platform. And I think PP Elizabeth Kim Kung has asked a very important question. And probably I'll throw it back to the doctors here on things like organ donation that can be used in transplantation of reversal of blindness. I think any of the doctors can pick up that. Anybody else with a question or comment? Please feel free. There are some people I cannot let off the hook. Praful, please say something. Dr. Givanga. I can see Laura. Who else? So Praful, starting with you. I would want to hear your comment, voice.
Mr. President, I'm really impressed with the speaker. She's able to perform tasks with this disability. I'm really so well impressed that I have a few words to say. Congratulate you, my dear. You're doing well. But my question to you would be about stigma you face with the members of public. Because members of public do not look kindly towards any person with any disability. How have you been able to deal with this? Thank you.
Pipi Praful, I had pointed at Madam Dr. Laura, and then we will come back to the other doctors just on organ transplant and donors. And I have many guests today from the Rotary Club of Kirinyaga, Nairobi South, Ongata Rongai East. Thank you, my classmate presidents and colleagues in Sunshine Rally team for coming, because every year you've been dealing with people with visual impairment. And I know this topic is close to your heart. Karibuni sana. You'll have a chance to say something later. Dr. Oyengo. If not there, Josephine will go to you, and then we'll go to Dr. Gidanga, the other doctor clinician here.
I am just setting up my screen. Please just
Yes.
pass. I'll be on when I'll put my hand up shortly. Just
Okay,
give me a
okay.
few minutes. Moving from my handset to my screen.
Okay. I do appreciate we're just fresh from the holidays and people are a bit sluggish in asking questions. So let me open the forum. AG Judith Karimi, maybe you can you can say something. Being one of the sunshiners who try and bring joy every year to people with their different disabilities. My senior, Judith.
Mr. President, how are you? And
I'm
fellow
okay.
Rotarians. Well, I'm a PhD, Judith Karimi from Asi Kirinyaga. I've got into the meeting late, so I didn't get to listen to the speaker. So I have not much comment, but I'm happy to join us in a lobby. These are my good friends. We were classmates with Pipi Gedanga. Thank you.
Yes, I know. I noticed you came late, but I was calling you in as a veteran of Sunshine Rally, and given that we try and give joy once a year to children with different disabilities, maybe you can share that experience in a minute, because some don't know some of these things that go on there.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, just in a minute or two, you can.
Oh, sawa. My mind was not very stable. I was driving from Nairobi. I've just gotten to Kiriwea. In Sunshine, we are able to give people with different disabilities fun, comfort. I always say it's making them feel that they are in the same world and a better world than all of us. Because these disabled people, if they are not well accommodated, if you give them stigma, they feel like they are not part of us. So in Sunshine, we make them feel like they are part and parcel of us. Like us in Kirinyaga, we have undertaken, our signature project is on renovating special unit classes, which accommodate different disabilities from autism, physical. We renovate and give them a state-of-art classrooms so that they're able, and they will feel good when they're going to school. And those who are at home, since parents still hide the disabled at home, they will be able to now feel we are going to a better place. So they will want to go to the school. They will want to participate in what other people are participating in, because most disabled people are not, it's the stigma which makes them not perform. But without that stigma, they do things better than some of us. So let's embrace the disabled. Let's walk and hold their hands, and we will get somewhere. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Very quickly, Juliet R.C. Moranga, past president. Juliet, a minute, and then I'll come back home to Josephine Githanga. I'll go to Manuba first, Josephine Githanga in that order. But after Juliet, we'll have to hear from past president Catherine Maringa, RC Ongatarongai East. Juliet. Past President Juliet, you have to unmute. Okay. Past President Catherine Maringa, Ongatarongai East.
Good afternoon, fellow Rotarians and guests. I'm also sorry, like AG, I missed the first part of the presentation, but I hope it will be shared because it's being recorded. We really appreciate the effort that Chief is making to bring out these issues so that we can understand. I have a friend who lost her sight at the age of about 55, and it was really hard for us to imagine. So when these things are shared, when these topics are shared, it really opens our mind. Thank you very much for organizing this. And thank you very much, Madam Chief, for the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Manu Bai, Past President Manu Chandaria. You're back. I saw you raise your hand. Manu, are you there?
He's there, but he's on mute. He's on mute.
He's on mute. Yeah, okay, okay.
Okay, I'm mute. Okay, I'm sorry. 10% of the people approximately are disabled in Kenya. And unless we teach our children right from the school that compassion is a necessity part of our life, that either when you see any one of them with their eyes or with their hearing, let's help them. That part is just totally forgotten. It's only considered about values, but compassion must be there. I think 78 when we started the physical disabled rally, because we had in our own family 3 people disabled. And so we knew how much difficulty it is for them to fend for themselves. So I think that it is a necessity that our children learn from the day one that compassion is one of the most important value which they should cultivate. Thank you.
Am I forgetting Juliet? Before I come back home, Juliet, are you in a position to say something, Past President Juliet R.C. Moranga? That is one of the counties that bring to the Sunshine Rally children with different disabilities. So we have a compassionate team here already. And yes, Manubai, you started off the Sunshine Rally, and you have disciples for the Sunshine Rally from all over. So it is something I think we should also come back to the club and make our fellow Rotarians pick up that particular value you brought up. Thank you. Juliet, if you are ready, please, I'll give you half a minute, and then I come back home to Past President Josephine and Githanga. In particular, I want them to maybe just to share issues of organ donor, the ethics about it, and if we are good to go with that, and if people like Madam Patricia Wandia can benefit. If Juliet, you're not there, let me give the floor to Madam Past President-elect Josephine.
Thank you very much, President Gideon, fellow Rotarians, and our guests from Rotary Clubs. I want to ask a specific question, and mine is about the experience of a person with disability, with visual disability, during COVID-19. You know, you've just heard about compassion, and I want to say that we've lived 2 years with COVID, and we are all able to understand that there must be a challenge for persons who are living with disabilities, particularly those who have loss of visual acuity and are not able, therefore, to get around. I want to ask our speaker today to just tell us how that's affected the population of people who have a visual challenge, and what resources are in place, and where there are gaps. You know, we all know how to wash our hands because we can see the hands, we can go to a tap, we can turn it on, we can, you know, wait for soap to come from a dispenser. But what is the experience of a person who is unable to see? What measures have been used, and what innovations are there? And beyond that, even getting to the hospital for services, how are you managing now during COVID-19? That's my question. Over to you, Madam Speaker.
Brilliant question, Josephine. We live like it is normal, but it's not normal for everybody, even for able-bodied people like us. I think you brought a very good question to the front, to our faces. Dr. Githanga, would you intervene on organ donation and things like those?
Yeah, thank you very much.
And I don't want to shut you down. If you have a question, please go ahead. But I thought you can bring it in that. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much, President Gideon, and hello to fellow Rotarians and guests. Like the other 2 or 3 speakers, I joined in a little bit late, so I missed the initial presentation by Patricia, which was actually a little bit muted because there was a lot of echoes. But I do gather from the poster that she basically became blind as an adult, and I'm not too sure about the diagnosis. And you know, from a doctor's point of view, you want to make the diagnosis first before you can make the recommendation. But specifically, I was asked to talk about surgery and what other surgical options exist for people who lose their sight, particularly in adult age. That purely depends on the cost, but I do believe, number one, management of conditions that predispose a lot of people in adulthood to have blindness, say like diabetes, is very important. Diabetes is a lifelong disease. Diabetes is actually a lot worse in Mount Kenya region than many other places in this country. And many people will lose sight or over and above having other cardiovascular situations. But specifically for transplant, I think there is a Tissue Act that has not been passed. I don't know how far it has gotten on in this country, where you can get organ donation being done, particularly people who need corneal transplants. And people in the Rotary Club of Nairobi will know that Mukesh Joshi, one of our honorary Rotarians, has been at the forefront of transplant. I think there's a little bit of setback in terms of our education and how we move forward. And I think it's still works in progress with Parliament to pass the Tissue Act so that people can donate body parts that could be used for other reasons. So I will not pretend that I'm an ophthalmologist, but I think that this particular presentation talks about issues and brings them to the fore. And past President Manu Chandari has brought in the whole issue of compassion. Those of us who have sight or have other faculties, we have no guarantees that we will not need some sort of help or other. So that compassion must be even selfishly brought up to take care of us when we are on the other side. But probably Laura Onyango, my fellow pediatrician, may say something also, particularly regarding blindness that may occur in very, very premature babies, because we are pediatricians. We tend to lean towards pediatric issues. Thank you very much.
DG Gitanga, Past President. Laura, please, you can chip in from, I think, that very strange phenomena that Dr. has talked about, blindness in children.
Yes, good morning, President. Good morning, fellow Rotarians. Yes.
Good afternoon, Laura. Where are you?
Afternoon. Don't
worry. So yes, as DG has rightly put it, currently in the country, we have a very high proportion of our children who are born as prematures, and majority of them require oxygen in the first few days after delivery. And if that oxygen is not monitored, is not regulated, a few of them can develop what we call retinopathy of prematurity, meaning that they might go blind from an intervention that is actually meant to save them. Very sad for a child who starts off life without sight, very difficult to assimilate them in society, because from the word go, the parents would need special training for them to be able to equip the child with skills to navigate the world. So having worked, moving away from that, having worked in MOH, what currently Ministry of Health has been doing is that it has been organizing camps where they look at the differently disabled population in the public health facility, have them registered so that they can be assisted in either getting devices to enable them live in a more comfortable manner among society, or recommend schools for the young ones where they can get an education. I have to commend the Ministry of Education with the current education system, the one which a number of parents are fighting. It's actually meant to be inclusive, meaning the children who are differently abled are able to join their peers in classrooms and take part in activity. Because as a society, we should live together. Whether you're able to do this or not able to do that, I feel we need to live together, and as fellow Rotarian said, show compassion to those who don't have the abilities like we do. So that's what I can say, President Gideon. A lot more to discuss, but keeping it brief for the sake of the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Laura and Dr. and Rotarian Laura. I will now go back to our guest speaker. I think those questions have been lined up very well. And Madam Wandia, Madam Shifo, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Yes, yes. I think you can answer the questions or just basically generally add on to maybe what our clinicians have shared. But I think what is important is maybe repeat the disease you are told you are suffering from that made you lose your eyesight. I think that was Kim Kung's first question, and then is it reversible? If I got it right. But I think what most people missed was the fact that they didn't get the disease that was diagnosed and what later developed into before you went into blindness.
Okay, thank you very much. When I was diagnosed, far much later, after having gone to the hospital, having visited different hospitals in Kenya, I was told I have retina detachment, which was not a surgery. And in the process of correction, I developed glaucoma. Glaucoma, I think the ophthalmologist says it's the pressure of the eye, and mostly sometimes it's not reversible. So I was told it's not reversible because the retina is the eye. I was told if it was the cornea, I could have had a transplant, because when the CS, Mutahi Kagwe, Ministry of Health, came to my house, they said they put it well, that any medical assistance that the government can offer, they were ready to do that. And that's when I was taken to the ophthalmologist, Dr. Gishangi, and with a team of doctors, they diagnosed and they said it was not reversible. The treatment had delayed, thus leading now to the total blindness or total visual impairment. And that's how I lost my eyesight. About the stigma, I think Manu asked about the stigma. For sure, when you acquire disability, people come with so many fashions, and the disabled people have not, the society have not really been enlightened about disability, and that is why you find even most people hide their children. They don't want to remove them to come out to be seen that they are disabled. Like me, for my stigma, it was a little bit difficult because people will sympathize. They'll know, they start looking at you. They'll come out, start whispering. They are like, I used to walk very fast. I love walking, and I could walk very fast. So many places. I would multitask, and so I was really limited. So the people are just there, sympathizing, not really realizing that visually impaired people or anybody who has any even physical disability, they don't need sympathy. We only need apathy. We only need to be encouraged that we can do it. And really, that is the most important. So what comes with the stigma, that is what brings now the mental issue, because with the stigma, it can make you go down. Because at one point, when I realized, I don't have friends, people used to call me and not calling me. And if somebody calls me, oh, I'm sorry, you wonder, I'm not feeling pain anywhere, but I can only see darkness. Does somebody have to be sorry? So you realize that one has told you sorry, never again. So that stigma comes from the society. It is the one that makes or people not even to be productive. But because for us, I'm a strong believer, and that is what it's called for me, that I have to do what I do best. Like I want to say, like last week, I went to the liver with my village elders to destroy that illicit brew. And when I do such good work, and I have intelligence now from my people, the intelligence report from my people, it gives me that satisfaction that at least I'm good. What I was doing when I was sighted, I can do it. So even now society, will start now believing in me. But if I first didn't believe in myself, and if I did not have the social support, the social system support from from my family members, maybe I would have lost it. And that is when you find so many people don't make it. You'll even find you cannot eat because the society, the way it's treating you out there. When when I was going to Matatu, we are the two of us. The Matatu people will think that you are going to beg because you're holding each other, and they are like, who will pay, for the seat? So you even find that you're being left at the bus stop, or that is the stigma that comes, with the loss of eyesight or even any other physical impairment. And somebody asked about the resource and how about during the COVID. I want to tell you that is the most challenging bit of the visually impaired people, because you find that we use our touch skills. The interesting thing I tell people about a visually impaired person, when you lose your eyesight, or when one loses the eyesight, there's something that God does to us that is super. The sense of smell, the sense of hearing and touch. So anything we do, like if I have to go to the washroom, I have to, to touch, or such places everywhere, I have to touch. So it was very challenging for us. You have to keep, washing your hands. You have to have the sanitizer all through until when you go to social places, let's say like a wedding, or let's say like, in a burial, you have to keep sanitizing yourself, because you can imagine you have, let's say, I would imagine myself having COVID, and with the with the visual impairment, I would not imagine how to cope. And even that on by itself would even bring me down. That what if I get COVID? You find you're even thinking of beyond even what you're supposed to think about. So it was a very challenging moment, for, especially COVID scripting. You have to walk into, you don't even know the other person, whether he, she, from where your guide has that COVID. So you just live by grace every day. So it was quite a challenge. Getting resources is not easy, because as I said, let's say like the white cane. The white cane, the one that you can easily get is, let's say, 2,000. Very few people will afford 2,000. I want to tell you that for free. There are some other white canes that even go for 5,000. And how many Kenyans will afford 5,000? So you find that so you and they have some other things that they have to take care of. So you find that the resources are very limited, and they are not reachable. And even those who can reach them, they don't even have the idea. They've not been sensitized on where or and how to to get it. So I think it still goes back to all of us, that even as we do our daily or day-to-day life, that we need to advocate, or to do an advocacy thing or workshops to the able people, because disability, we are all kinds of disability. No, I never thought that I would ever lose my eyesight. I used to be the secretary of almost all meetings that I used to attend, because I could write very fast. I had very nice handwriting, and I could read even very small writings. So when we educate our people that anything can happen, that is when it all dawns to back to the community that let's educate people in case this one happens. We are supposed to handle it like this, because you find we are getting people who are physically challenged every day, visual impairment is happening every day. And as one doctor has said, not just to the adults, but even to the young ones. So that is how challenging it is. When it comes to resources, you find it's a little bit difficult. Even when you find even in the government circles, you find the 20,000 guide allowance what is given is too little to manage with a guide. It's just too little. So life becomes very, very expensive, and it becomes almost unbearable, even to those who are working, and especially now to those who are not working. So for the resources, I would equally say that people are supposed, the community are supposed to be enlightened on where they can get the basic thing. It is the white cane. Basic is the white cane, because white cane gives one that independence that can go shorelining along something and get away. If it's with the house, you can do it, because for me it became easy because psychologically I had so many things to thank God about, and so I picked up my pieces let's say like within 8 months. And so like in my house I do everything. I reminded myself that I have to live, but how many people have that strength to remind themselves that they have to live? In the Kenya Center for the Blind, there are people who it had taken more than 2 years for them to accept that they're blind. You find even visually impaired people even go to abuse even alcohol. They go to alcoholism. Reason why? They don't care. They want to die. And so by the time you tell them that they have to move on, that life must go on, it has basically taken a toll on them, because especially for lack of resources and for lack of rehabilitation. I think I've answered the questions.
Thank you. Yes, thank you, Madam Wandia. Probably as I give Skita an opportunity maybe to introduce herself and what she does, Skita Emisa, I would want to say this. I went to Kenya Society for the Blind at the time Corona was at its peak, and I met two visually impaired, you call them what, masseuse, this young lady, I think she was age 26. And one, she was out of a job because she does massage at Parkland Sports Club. And if you can recall, hospitality industry was the first that was hard hit. But what inspired me about these two girls, the one was 26, I think the other, and I can't remember her age very well, both visually impaired, is that they had picked up their pieces and were learning new skills of playing music instruments, and have started a band at the Kenya Society for the Blind called the Guza Nafsi. And essentially their objective is to develop talent besides what is normal or considered normal or conventional work. And yes, these people have different talents that like these two girls, Corona opened them up to, and here they are. Skita, you are in a position just to introduce yourself and say what you do. Skita Emisa.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, President. My name is Skita Emisa. I report for KBC about differently on disability issues. And I would like to thank Patricia for sharing her story. Going outside there to get stories for persons with disabilities is hard because especially those who get disability along the way, the denial part. So getting someone to just open up and share her story is encouraging. And thank you, Patricia. We'll link up with you maybe later. Thank you.
Asante Skita. Yes, some of these stories, particularly issues to do with our developing compassion, can be taught very well by people like you in the media, Madam Skita. So thank you for joining us today. IPP Ritesh, you joined us late, but our Rotary meeting at RC Nairobi is not complete until you say something and say hi to us. And then I'll hand over, hand over the meeting back to Suprana Biswas so that she can, on our behalf, as the Rotary Club of Nairobi, respond with a vote of thanks. IPP Ritesh.
Thank you. Thank you so much, President Gideon, and thank you all for the wonderful input. I've heard all the questions coming in, and also our honorable speaker today, such a wonderful individual who's championing the way forward and showing individuals that it's not about sympathy, it's about being supportive, yes, empathizing, but also to showcase that there is nothing which can stop an individual in achieving their goals, especially if you set your mind to it. So it's about the power of the mind. And President Gideon, I think what I can say is that this was a wonderful meeting. It's been probably one of the highlight meetings. Thank you so much.
Asante. President Kimeto, karibu sana. Rak Muthaiga, no Kitengela, karibu sana. You're a usual contributor at our meetings, though you joined late. Madam Suprana Biswas, can I just invite you to respond on our presentation today by Madam, we call her Madam Shifo, Patricia Wandia. Suprana Biswas. Or does she need help to unmute or something?
I think she might have lost connectivity.
Or she has lost connectivity. If she's lost connectivity, allow me to ask
She's
somebody.
back.
Oh, sorry,
she's
I
back.
think she's back. I think she's back. Yeah.
She's back.
She's
Okay,
back.
yeah. Suprana, please unmute and are you there?
Hello.
Yes, please unmute and go ahead. And in your response, maybe to on our behalf, through our vote of thanks, I'd also want you to just mention something about your organization. Thank you, Suprana. Go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, President Gideon. Good afternoon, and good afternoon to fellow Rotarians. I would like to thank you for bringing on board this very important issue of eyesight and well-being related to eyesight. I thank our guest speaker, Patricia Wandia, for a very, very good presentation that she has made with her personal experience. We salute your courage and your will and determination to accept rehabilitation, which you have done in a very, very great way. It's just amazing. And we encourage you to continue to push forward with all the tools that are available for the visually impaired so that you can continue your life in a very, very with ease, despite the challenge. My name is Suparna Biswas, and I am the CEO of an organization that's called Kilimanjaro Blind Trust Africa. We are in the visually impaired sector. We are actually a lead agency that works towards education. Our focus is on learners from primary school to university who have already lost their sight and have made it to inclusive schools. So we work with schools, we work with learners, and we provide them with digital assistive devices because our key is inclusion of the visually impaired. We know that there can be no solution to inclusion if there is no access to education. The government of Kenya has done a lot, and I think Dr. Laura mentioned about inclusive schools, where learners with visual impairment and sighted learners are in the same classroom. But unfortunately, it doesn't really work out because
Suprana, oh, sorry, we've lost you, Suprana. Are you there? Mm-hmm. Yeah, those are the vagaries of virtual meetings. But yes, I think Suprana had started very well. Are you still there, Suprana? Maybe as she finds her footing, I would want to say that I inquired about a Braille book. And a Braille book would cost a minimum of 100,000 shillings. Likewise, a Braille pen would cost not less than 10,000 shillings. And imagine you have a school like Theka School for the Blind, where you have 1,600 children.
Sorry, President Gideon, I believe you're on mute.
Sorry, Biswas has just called me to tell me she's lost power, in the process lost internet. So yes, we'll bring the matter to an end. And I think she had said most of the things she needed to say. But what is important, I think we'll also have her as a guest speaker at some later point in time, just to talk about education for the particularly visual impaired. She deals with the visual impaired at a later stage. Maybe Irina, you can help us get her as a guest speaker. So with that, allow me now to just thank everybody who has come Thank you from everybody. I would want you to charge your glasses and we give the final toast. If you don't have a glass, please do put your right hand on your chest, and together with the Rotary Clubs of Marylborough, RC London, Nairobi South, Ongata Rongai East, Kirinyaga, Muranga, Kitengela Rotary Club, I give you Rotary the world over. Thank you. Thank you. God bless you. Thank you. Thank you. God bless you. And yes, what a nice fellowship we've had. And God bless you for finding time to be with us today. Juliet, are you still there? Juliet, we didn't hear your voice. RC Muranga, Past President. Oh, so you're just hiding from us. You're a shy girl.
No, I was in another meeting. I was attending to clients.
Yes.
Sorry. Hey, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
I'm so happy to have joined you. I've learned a lot.
Yes.
And that story was so touching.
Yes.
And thank you so much for sharing the link. We'll be joining these virtual meetings. Thank you so much.
Karibu.
Thank you.
Anybody else I left out? Irene has left. Irene Gidiaka.
Mr. President.
Yes.
Can you wish Dr. Manu Chadari a wonderful lunch? We are watching, we can see he's eating and we are hungry.
Yeah, the guy is enjoying himself. and it looks, Manu, it looks like ugali. Are you eating ugali? Oh,
sorry, Manu,
yeah.
you're on mute.
Yeah.
Enjoy your lunch from Kirinyaga.
Yeah, very kind of you. So thank you. Thank you everybody for their contributions. God bless. And hope to see you again at the next fellowship next week. Thank you.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Ritesh, bye.